Isn't it remarkable how every single person you meet, well, has their own unique flavor?
It really is.
You could be watching people in a park, and it's like a human kaleidoscope, everyone moving and thinking in their own distinct way.
Yeah.
It really does feel like everyone marches to the beat of their own drum, doesn't it?
It's the beautiful complexity of being human, that incredible diversity in how we experience the world and, interact with it.
Exactly. And that's precisely what we're going to unpack in this deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a fascinating piece here called All Kinds of People, a World of Personalities. Think of it as like a guided tour through the different ways people are wired.
Okay.
Our goal isn't really to stick labels on anyone, not at all, but more to gain a richer understanding of these different approaches
Right.
and ultimately how recognizing them can make our interactions and, well, our understanding of the world around us so much clearer.
Sure.
You, our listener, you encounter this spectrum of personalities every single day at work, within your family, among your friends.
Oh, absolutely.
This is about making those interactions even more insightful.
Absolutely. It's about moving beyond just observing behavior to understanding some of the underlying tendencies. Take, for instance, extroverts.
Okay.
Our source describes them as often being, energetic, cheerful individuals who thrive in the spotlight.
Right.
They're often seen as bold and quite literally magnets for people.
We all know someone like that, right?
Hmm.
The piece gives the example of cousin Sam, who just lights up a room when he enters.
Yeah, that classic energy.
Like their energy levels actually increase when they're surrounded by others. You see them at social events just effortlessly engaging with everyone.
Hmm.
But the source also touches on the fact that being alone can be, well, a real challenge for them sometimes.
And what's fascinating here is that social interaction isn't just enjoyable for extroverts. It often acts as a kind of cognitive refuel for them.
Interesting.
Engaging with others can stimulate their minds and boost their mood in a way that maybe solitude might for someone else.
Right, right.
Now, let's look at the other end of that spectrum. Introverts.
Okay, introverts.
The source portrays them as quiet, thoughtful individuals who are, perfectly content in their own company. While they might not be the most vocal in a group, their contributions are often marked by real insight.
The description of friend Lena as still waters that run deep, that's so powerful, isn't it?
It really is.
It captures that sense of a rich inner life that introverts often possess. I think in our fast-paced, often outwardly focused world, we can sometimes overlook the depth and value of that quieter perspective.
That's a crucial point. Introverts often process information internally. They need time for reflection.
Yeah.
Their insights can be incredibly valuable precisely because they've taken that time to consider things deeply.
So giving them space is key.
Exactly. Allowing them that space to formulate their thoughts can lead to, well, surprisingly profound contributions. There can even be neurological differences in how introverts and extroverts process stimuli. Yeah, which might explain why social interaction can feel draining for one and energizing for the other.
Wow, okay. Now let's talk about perfectionists.
Oh, boy.
We all have someone in mind, don't we?
Probably.
The source says everything has to be just right for them. Their work is meticulous, their surroundings are neat, and they truly dot every I and cross every T.
Yes.
The example of a brother with these tendencies that really brings it home.
What's interesting about perfectionism is that it often stems from a deep desire for excellence and, a strong attention to detail.
Which can be good.
Oh, yeah, it can lead to incredibly high-quality results. However, that same drive can also lead to significant personal pressure. And sometimes even delays because they're overemphasizing flawlessness.
Right, getting stuck.
Exactly. It raises an important question. Where does that healthy pursuit of quality tip over into potentially detrimental levels of self-criticism and unrealistic expectations?
Such a fine line, isn't it?
Yeah.
You certainly appreciate that attention to detail when it counts, but yeah, it can be frustrating when it slows things down unnecessarily.
True.
Okay, shifting gears quite a bit now. Let's delve into free spirits.
Ah, the free spirits.
The source describes them as people who don't necessarily adhere to rules just because. They
Yeah.
tend to go wherever their interests take them, often brimming with unexpected and original ideas.
Yeah.
The colleague Mia, with her spontaneous adventures, that perfectly illustrates this type.
The essence of the free spirit really lies in their adaptability, and their inherent openness to new and varied experiences.
Hmm.
They often challenge conventional thinking and can bring a breath of fresh air and novel perspectives to situations.
They're shaking things up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we connect this to a broader idea, these are often the individuals who drive innovation and creativity simply because they aren't bound by, traditional ways of thinking or operating.
They definitely inject a sense of unpredictability and excitement into life. Next up, we have the go-getters.
Okay. The ambitious ones.
These are the folks who, as the source says, never sit still. They're
Ah,
always hustling,
yeah.
focused on their goals, and driven by a real fire in their belly.
Great.
The gym buddy Dan, with his super early morning workouts and relentless pursuit of his fitness goals, he's a prime example.
What's fascinating about go-getters is that intrinsic motivation that fuels them. They are often highly self-directed and deeply focused on achievement.
Yeah, you can really see it.
And this raises an interesting point for you, the listener, to consider. What are your own personal goals, and can you recognize that same kind of intense, driving energy in the people around you who are striving to accomplish something significant?
It's definitely inspiring to be around that kind of energy. Sometimes a bit overwhelming to keep up, maybe.
Can be.
Let's move on to the laid-back individuals.
Ah, the chill ones.
The Force describes them as people who don't get easily stressed. They tend to go with the flow and maintain their calm even in the midst of chaos. Julia, who can just shrug off minor setbacks, sounds like someone we'd all want around when things get tough.
Definitely. The strength of a laid-back personality often lies in their resilience and their ability to effectively manage stress. They can provide a much-needed sense of calm during turbulent times.
That sounds great.
However, it also prompts an important question. Could this tendency to remain unruffled sometimes lead to a lack of necessary action, in situations that actually require a more proactive response?
That's a really insightful point. It's all about finding the right balance, I suppose.
I think so, yes. It's rarely black and white.
Then we have the worrywarts, those individuals who, as the source puts it, tend to make a mountain out of a molehill and often anticipate the worst-case scenario. Aunt Mona, with her immediate concern for potential negative outcomes, is the example given here.
It's crucial to approach this personality type with a sense of empathy, I think.
Yeah.
While their constant worrying can sometimes be challenging for those around them, it often stems from a heightened sensitivity to potential risks and a deep desire to protect themselves and their loved ones, even if their assessment of those risks might sometimes seem disproportionate.
That's such an important perspective to keep in mind. It's easy to become impatient, but understanding the underlying motivation, they can really change how you interact.
Definitely.
Next, we have the people pleasers.
Ah, yes.
These are individuals who try to keep everyone around them happy and often struggle to say no, sometimes at the expense of their own well-being.
Right.
Friend Sarah is the example. And the source wisely reminds us that you can't pour from an empty cup.
Such a good reminder. This really highlights the critical importance of establishing healthy boundaries. People pleasers often prioritize the needs and desires of others above their own, and while their intentions are usually good, this pattern can unfortunately lead to burnout and resentment.
Yeah, I can see that.
It prompts you, the listener, to maybe reflect on your own comfort level with setting boundaries in your personal and professional life.
Definitely something important for everyone to consider. Now, we can't forget the hot-headed individuals, those who might fly off the handle relatively quickly, but whose anger often subsides just as fast. Neighbor Mike, who kind of wears his emotions on his sleeve, is the example provided.
What's interesting about hot-headed individuals is often the intensity with which they experience and express their emotions.
Right, it's very outward.
Exactly. While outbursts of anger can be jarring, it's often a temporary state, and they may not harbor resentment in the long term. Understanding that they process emotions outwardly and intensely can be helpful in navigating interactions with them.
It's a good reminder that outward displays of emotion don't necessarily equate to lasting negative feelings.
Okay.
Now, the source also briefly touches upon a wider range of other descriptors,
Yeah, it broadens out a bit.
including daydreamers, realists, cynics, eternal optimists, natural leaders, team players, independent individuals, those who dislike being alone, those who love routine, those who thrive on chaos,
Right.
and those who are outwardly emotional versus those who are more reserved. It really does paint a comprehensive picture of human diversity, doesn't it?
Exactly. And the key takeaway here, I think, is that nobody fits neatly into just one of these categories.
Absolutely not.
As the source implicitly suggests, we are all complex individuals, a mixed bag of different traits and tendencies.
So true.
Someone might be quite reserved and shy in unfamiliar social settings, but become, the life of the party when they're with close friends.
No, I've seen that.
Or they might be incredibly meticulous and organized in their professional life, but have a more relaxed approach to their home environment.
That makes so much sense. It really highlights how context in our relationships can bring out different aspects of our personalities.
Precisely. And perhaps the most important thing to remember, really, is that there is no single right or wrong way to be.
So important.
These are simply different ways of navigating and experiencing the world around us.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of personalities, what's the core message here for us? What should we really be taking away from all of this?
Well, I think the fundamental insight is that developing an understanding of these different personality types fosters greater patience, increased curiosity, and a more open-minded approach to our interactions with others.
Yeah.
It encourages us to look beyond surface-level behaviors and consider the deeper reasons why people might act or react in certain ways.
Absolutely. It really brings to mind that classic saying, different strokes for different folks.
Indeed. And on that thought, maybe we leave you with this. Take some time to observe the various personality types you encounter in your own life.
Just notice them.
Yeah, just notice. Consider how these diverse perspectives and unique ways of being ultimately contribute to the richness and complexity of the world we all share. What can you learn from someone whose approach to life is markedly different from your own?